Welcome to Accompaniment. I am Paula, and today's accompaniment is going to be one for your holiday meal. This is going to be easy. It's not as traditional as some other meals, however, it is flavorful. It's going to be quick to make, and you can have your whole holiday meal on the table in just a couple of hours. Today's menu was chosen because it is items that are readily available, whether you have chosen to make this meal for the holiday season or just a Sunday dinner. It's something that you can really pull out of your repertoire anytime that you feel the need. Not to mention the ingredients that I'm going to show you today and the methods that I am going to show you are all very quick in comparison to some other ways that we could do it. This is very beginner friendly as well. So stay tuned. I want to show you exactly how I'm going to put this together. Okay, so first I have my rice boiling for that rice stuffing that we're going to get started on. I want that cooking first, and then I'm going to go ahead and start prepping everything. I'm going to start by prepping my greens. Now you can buy greens that have already been chopped. That will make this even easier. I never buy those, and I'm going to tell you why. On collards, this big stem is it's not edible to me. I don't enjoy it, and so I really want to be able to pull this out. I feel like those bags of greens you get from the store already prepped have the greens have too many of the stems in it, and so that's why I don't do it. So I'll take a few extra minutes in order to peel mine apart. Now I did a whole guide on picking your greens last year. I'm not going to do that this year because I'm going to make this really quick, but this is what I'm going to do to the collards. The turnips I have here, I'm just going to run a knife through those. There's a stem on it, but it's not inedible until you, in my opinion, until you get to the end. So this you can live with. So I'm going to go ahead and peel them off here on the collards and just kind of break them into bite-sized pieces. And then, like I said, I'll run a knife through the turnips, and I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, now this is how I do my turnips. You can use any type of greens. When I say greens, I almost always just say greens because I like the flavors and textures of mixing them. So you can just grab a bunch of these, and then what I like to do is just kind of twist off the woodsy stem or the thick part of the stem, and then I roll them up, but then I cut them in half so they're not too long ribbons, and then chop through these. Now everything I'm making today is homemade. Homemade meals can be easy also. You don't have to think that every time something is considered easy that it has to be store-bought. We just have to be kind of smart and wise in which the methods that we use to cook them, which can make them really easy too. So just a couple of minutes of effort can really pay off in the way of flavor and health and nutrition, if you ask me. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and then I will get these cleaned up. Again, my guide to greens last year, I showed you exactly how I clean these up, so I'll be sure to link that video. But like I said, we'll move on to the next step from here. Okay, I'm going to get a couple of onions chopped up. One is going to go in the greens, the other's for the stuffing, but since I'm on the chopping step, I'm going to go ahead and do them all together. This saves time too because you're in one mindset. So you know, if you know you got vegetables to chop, just go ahead and chop them all at the same time. I had mentioned earlier how easy meals, or when you think easy in the kitchen, a lot of people think convenience. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, foods that are already prepared for us. Sometimes it can be the cooking method. Sometimes it can be just taking quicker steps to help your process to be smoother. Sometimes it could be something simple as, like I said, making Cornish hens instead of making a whole turkey. So really, the more time you spend in the kitchen, the more creative. It's just like any skill. You have to really cultivate it. But one of my reasons for starting this channel is because I wanted to express the importance of it, because I feel like it's a lost skill nowadays, but also to share that it really is important for everyday life. I mean, listen, we all gotta eat, and you really should know who's preparing your food. I mean, we all wish that the world was rainbows and that every restaurant we buy something from is going to be in pristine condition and they're going to care about who's on the other end of that, but that's just not the way it is. So if for no other reason than that. But also, it's kind of like I tell my near grown children, you might as well learn to enjoy the things that you know you have to do. I gotta eat, I gotta feed people, so might as well make it enjoyable. Okay, we're gonna get started on those greens. I'm gonna get my Instant Pot on the saute function. Add a little bit of oil here to the bottom. I have some dry salt pork. You could do bacon, whatever you have. Now this is gonna make this cook much faster time than it would if we did on the stove. So again, another convenience here without necessarily having to buy convenience foods. Just makes it easier. I know this ain't your granny way she did it. It's okay. This is gonna work for us in the busy seasons. You know, it really, what it does is it keeps us from coming up with these excuses. Anyone who tells me that they do not have time to cook, I look at them. Now I try to be gracious, but I look at them knowing that we all make time for the things that we deem important. Now, it may not be worth it or advantageous for you. Invitation. Can I speak today? It might not work to your advantage to cook. You know, some people in their life, it's just more better for their time, usage of their time not to. But most of us do have the time. And maybe if we can learn ways to make it more simple on ourselves, maybe we'll actually take the time. So here we are. So I'm gonna let that saute up a little bit. Then we'll get the onion in. I already had the other onion prepped for the stuffing. I'm gonna go ahead and continue to prep the rest of the vegetables so that we can get ready to move to that step. Okay, the dry salt bacon is pork has been cooked up. And this is fine if they're a little undercooked. This is all gonna cook together. I'm gonna get my onion in. There's really no need to saute it at this point, so I'm just gonna drop it in. Stir it around here. And then I am also going to throw in my jalapeno. That is my thing. That's what I do to my greens. So adding it here. Then we're gonna add in some water. About a cup. As you know, for Instant Pot cooking and just greens in general, you really don't need that much water. I'm doing water today to make it simple. In my traditional greens, I would do chicken stock or chicken broth because it is flavorful, but I kind of got a way around that too. So again, just to make this easy, I have some water. You could leave it like this, but I am gonna add a little bit of chicken bouillon to help give me some more flavor here. Because bland greens are not where it's at. You might as well just not even cook any. I'm gonna add a little bit of chicken bouillon there. Sorry about my ghetto measuring. It is what it is. So we just got that in there. And then we're gonna go ahead and add, I'm gonna add half the greens and then the seasoning meat. Now today I have, 8 bunches of greens, a mixture between turnip and collard greens. So that's about halfway. Okay, so I'm just gonna push this down and try to get some of that at the bottom on top here. Add a little bit here. And then I'll add my seasoning meat, my smoked meat. I have a mixture of ham hock and neck bones. You can use turkey wings, turkey leg, tails, whatever you got, whatever your preference is. And then I'm gonna add the rest of those greens back on top. And then I keep this on the saute function for a little bit, just until they start to wilt more. I'm gonna add some more seasoning on top. So you want this about 3/4 of the way full. You don't want to overcrowded too much. Greens do cook down a lot, but I have a larger Instant Pot as well, so just for reference. If you use less greens in here, you may want to use maybe 3/4 cup, half cup of water. So now I am going to switch the function, just hit cancel to turn it off. I'm going to go to pressure cook and then just put it down to 5 minutes. Now, of course, it's going to take more than 5 minutes to cook, but it's going to come up to pressure, and then we're going to do a natural release for about 20 minutes. So all of that will add to the cooking time, of course. All right, so that's ready to go. We'll go ahead and finish up or get started on the Cornish hens. Okay, FYI, there are happy children at play. This is real life in my real home, in my real kitchen. So if you hear anything, it's my little ones. I think they're getting ready for nap. But so we're gonna go ahead and move on. I have my Cornish hens here. I have them dried off and cleaned up, and add a little bit of oil, which will help the seasonings to stick. I like to have some color on my meat. Color to me equals flavor, so that's kind of how the concept behind this. But of course, you could season this any way that you want. Now, I chose Cornish hens. They're beautiful presentation, and also they cook really quickly. Now, I have 3 today. If you're a family of 4, you only need 2. So the rule of thumb here with the Cornish hens is they're 1 whole feeds 2 people, so half per person. Now, I am feeding a family of 8, but I have 2 toddlers, so they're really not going to eat a full serving. So right now, I'm just going a little bit on the cavity with some salt, garlic powder. I have some poultry seasoning. I actually don't use it every day in the seasoning, but I definitely do around the holidays. So just to kind of give it that holiday flair. And then I have some paprika. Now today I have smoked paprika because that is what I had on hand, but you could just use paprika, regular paprika, sweet paprika, or just omit it altogether if you wanted to. I like to use paprika in my cooking, especially on chicken or something like this, just to give it some color. It helps it get that rich amber color. And I do like this well seasoned. So what I like about cooking myself too is cooking is so personal. You know, my flavors might not be your flavors, and it is okay. So I'm gonna get this in the oven. We are going to cook this halfway through while we get prepped on the dressing, the rice dressing today, and then we're gonna stuff it to finish cooking the other halfway. Okay, so next step, we're gonna get started on that rice stuffing for the Cornish hens. Here I have some pork sausage. This is going to be reminiscent of a dirty rice almost. And then also I have some red pepper and celery that I've chopped up. Now you could do not black. You could do green bell pepper. Sometimes I've even done yellow or orange. I kind of like the sweetness of the red, but also it's festive, so I like having the color. And then I got that onion that we chopped earlier. I'm just gonna let this cook down. So this is a good alternative to a dressing if you want it. It's a lot less steps, so it's definitely quicker than a dressing, which is why I chose it for the menu today. But also because just stuffing it in the Cornish hens is a beautiful presentation. And so sometimes if you're doing a meal that is lesser time, you're taking some shortcuts, having a beautiful presentation kind of gives you that look and feel of elevating the dish. But you could also use this stuffing to stuff chicken, pork chops if you wanted to. It's really versatile and delicious. So I'm gonna let this cook down a little bit. And then while it's doing that, I'll get some garlic in. And then those greens are done, so we'll check on those. Okay, the greens are done. They did a natural release for about 20 minutes. And here they are. These look absolutely delicious. So again, you do not have to sacrifice your Sunday dinner, your holiday meal, even if you are short on time. These are done. I'm just gonna go ahead and let these sit for a while, and then I'll chop the meat off and serve those. Okay, now that the veggies have softened up here, we'll complete the rice stuffing. So I have here some white rice that I cooked. I will link my white rice recipe. I make it the same way almost every time because it always comes out perfect. I like it to have a little bite because I'm gonna finish cooking it in the oven, and I don't like mushy rice. This is going in, and then I'm gonna go ahead and season it here, and be sure to just test for seasonings. You could put whatever flavors in here that you and your family enjoy, and you could even switch this out to have different flavors. You could do Mexican inspired flavors, Cajun, which is what I'm kind of gonna do today. It's really, really versatile. So I'm gonna go ahead and get in some Cajun seasoning. And then also I'm going to add a little bit of poultry seasoning to balance the flavors of the poultry seasoning we have on the chicken or on the Cornish hens. And then a little salt and some pepper. And the ratio here between meat and veggies and rice is also a personal preference. So be sure to add as much or little as you prefer on this step. All right, that is ready to go. Okay, we are ready to complete the Cornish hens. So these have been in the oven cooking for about 30 minutes. They're about halfway cooked. And now I'm going to transfer this to another dish before stuffing it. Now you really don't have to do this. You could keep it in the same dish if that's what you wanted. I just want to transfer mine for presentation. This is a step you could have kids help with you on as well. My kids like helping me in the kitchen, probably because it's where I'm at so often. And it's like they feel like they need to do something too, since they're already in here watching me. My youngest son, actually, when he sees me, he knows my routine on certain things that I cook, like eggs or something like that. And so he'll go to the next step. He knows what's coming next. The pan's coming. I need something to whisk with, something to put the eggs in. So it's really sweet. I have an oval Dutch pot. I will link one that's similar if I find one. I absolutely love this, but I got it from HEB, which is a grocery store here in Texas. I'm gonna put some of the rice at the bottom. And then kind of nestle the chicken on top, or the Cornish hens. Same difference. Okay, and then I'm gonna also put more rice around. So this is going to be put back in the oven until it finishes cooking, maybe another 20-30 minutes. Okay, here we are with the last and final dish. Last but not least, this is probably my favorite part of this actually. I have about 4 small, medium-sized sweet potatoes. Now, the way you chop these, it does not matter because it's all going to be mushed anyway. So I like to do like half moon shapes. Just a little slice like that. And you could dice it also. I don't have a dessert today, but if you wanted to add one to round out this meal, you could either go store-bought if that's what you wanted. Also, something really easy and simple like a no-bake mousse or cheesecake, something like that would be really easy. So I'm just going to cover this pot in some water and boil this until they're tender. Okay, we are on the final dish, which is the sweet potato casserole. So I drained those sweet potatoes that I cooked. I cooked them for about, I let them boil about 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes. And I let them cool slightly so that the eggs won't curdle when we get it in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get in a half a stick of butter. I have a half cup of brown sugar. I have a half cup of milk. And then I also have 2 eggs. And you've probably seen this made a million different ways. My spin on this is a touch of lemon extract. I think lemon brightens up the flavor of sweet potatoes, so that's why I like to add it to a lot of my sweet potato dishes. I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla. I had a measuring spoon, I don't know where it went, so here we go. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of salt to balance those flavors. Okay. I'm gonna use a fork to kind of get this started. Now that our mixture is ready, I am going to put this in a serving dish. So y'all and I are trying this out together. I wanted to try to go ahead and cook it in the dish that I'll be serving it in, just because I like to be fancy. I really do. Now, I normally bake this in a 2-quart dish, but I'm going all out. This is the holidays. So I wanted to go ahead and serve it. I got these from Costco. I'll link some that are similar if I can find them. I had shared a grocery haul where I just knew I was gonna need these for the holiday. And here they are. And now we're gonna go ahead and jazz it up a little bit. Okay, so let's put a little topping on top. Right now that doesn't look too appetizing, but I got you. This is going to be texture, it's a little bit of crunch, and of course, presentation, because we like that. So I have here a half cup of brown sugar. I have a half cup of flour. Gonna mix that a little. Okay, now I'm gonna add the other stick of butter. It's gonna moisten this up, give us some color and flavor. And the last thing I'm gonna do is add some chopped pecans. You could do walnuts if you like. You could omit it if you like. And this time I did not toast the pecans because they're gonna be on top. To me, they'll toast just fine in the oven, but you could take that extra step if you wanted to. That together, it's almost like a little paste. It looks like Play-Doh, cookie dough. That's what it looks like, cookie dough. And then I'm gonna show you how I put this on top. I sprinkle this with my hands. Sprinkle this over top. Now I have my oven set at 345. I normally do it at 350, but with this particular baking dish, it does say up to 345. So I'll just cook it a little longer. If you're doing it at 350, bake it between 25 to 35 minutes. I'm gonna bake it between 35, 40 minutes. And doesn't that look delicious? I don't even need a pie after this. You really could wake up Thanksgiving morning or Christmas morning and make this entire meal. Okay, we're gonna get this in the oven and finish up the rest of our dishes. Okay, I pulled out the Cornish hens and rice. Now y'all know I didn't throw away the oil, the leftover good bits that were in that pan. I reserved them to kind of put on top. And you could use this to turn it into a gravy also if you wanted to. I'm just gonna go ahead and baste that because it looks absolutely delicious.